One of the most debated questions in Islamic history is the age of Aisha at the time of her marriage to the Prophet Muhammad. While a well-known hadith states that she was very young, a growing body of historical research suggests her age was likely significantly higher, and that the famous report may have emerged later for political and symbolic reasons, rather than as a straightforward historical record. Aisha was not only one of the Prophet's wives, but also one of the most influential figures in early Islam. After the death of the Prophet's first wife, Khadijah, Aisha became betrothed to the Prophet Muhammad, and the marriage was formalized after the Muslim community settled in Medina. According to Sunni tradition, she was among the Prophet's most beloved wives. Later in life, she became a central figure in early Islamic politics, following the assassination of the third caliph, Uthman, which culminated in the Battle of the Camel against the fourth caliph, Ali, as she demanded justice for Uthman's killers. After this turbulent period, Aisha withdrew from political life and dedicated herself to teaching. Her scholarly influence was enormous, with modern research highlighting her central role in shaping Islamic tradition and jurisprudence. The late medieval scholar Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani famously stated that 1/4 of Islamic law is based on Aisha's teachings. The widespread belief about Aisha's young age originates from a report attributed to Aisha herself and preserved in well-known hadith collections. This narration claims she was 6 or 7 at marriage and 9 when the marriage was consummated. Over time, this account became known as the marital age hadith and was widely accepted as historical fact. However, it has long been criticized by non-Muslims and has caused unease among many Muslims who questioned its implications and reliability. Some scholars historically defended the traditional account by pointing to the social norms of the pre-modern world. Early marriage was common across many societies in the Middle East, Europe, and Asia, with puberty often marking readiness for marriage. Historian Charles Freeman notes that in ancient Mediterranean civilizations, women typically married between the ages of 12 and 14 at the onset of puberty. In Aisha's case, historical sources also indicate that she had previously been engaged to another boy close to her age before her marriage to the Prophet Muhammad, suggesting she was not viewed as a small child within her society. Importantly, there is no historical record of the Prophet's contemporaries or opponents criticizing this marriage, despite their eagerness to undermine him in other ways. This strongly suggests that the marriage was not seen as socially abnormal in 7th century Arabia. Modern global research further confirms that child and early marriage have never been tied to any one religion, but instead arise from broader cultural and socioeconomic conditions across societies. From the 9th century onward, however, the marital age hadith began to take on legal significance in Islamic jurisprudence, particularly as evidence justifying the permissibility of early marriages of women arranged by their fathers under certain conditions. As modern Muslims increasingly rejected the relevance of such practices in contemporary life, scholars began to re-examine the historical timeline surrounding Aisha's age. Several alternative calculations emerged. Some scholars, using reconstructed chronologies of early Islamic events, argued that Aisha was more likely around 12 when the marriage was consummated. Others proposed that in ancient Arabia, age may have been counted from the onset of puberty rather than from birth, which would place Aisha closer to 18 in modern age terms. One of the most detailed modern investigations into this issue comes from Dr. Joshua Little's recent doctoral research at Oxford University. In his PhD thesis, Little examined early hadith transmission networks and the political environments in which these reports spread. He argues that the young age narrative likely emerged decades after the events themselves, particularly in Iraq during early Sunni-Shia rivalry. According to his analysis, the report may have originated with the narrator named Hisham ibn Urwa, a grandnephew of Aisha, and served to elevate Aisha's symbolic status by portraying her as a young virgin who entered the Prophet's household before Ali, a figure especially revered by Shias. This narrative strengthened Sunni theological positions during early sectarian competition rather than preserving a purely historical memory. Little concludes that Aisha was more likely in her early to mid-teens and possibly older when the marriage was consummated, though absolute certainty is impossible. Taken together, historical context, alternative chronologies, and modern critical scholarship increasingly suggest that Aisha's age was probably significantly higher than the commonly cited figure of 9. While definitive proof remains beyond reach, the cumulative evidence points away from the traditional narration as a literal historical account. What remains beyond dispute is Aisha's extraordinary role in shaping Islam. Her long life after the Prophet's death enabled her to become one of the most important transmitters of hadith and legal knowledge in Islamic history. Whatever her precise age at marriage, her close proximity to the Prophet at such a young age positioned her to influence Islamic thought in ways that continue to shape Muslim belief and practice today. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and donate.